I am doing this one as a request for a buddy of mine who has a tattoo artist that loves samurai movies, which is also known as, which obviously is pretty dang important in Japanese culture. Very specifically, one from 1962, Hara-kiri, a film by Masaki Kobayashi. Following the collapse of his clan, unemployed samurai Hanshiro Sugumo Tetsuya Nadakai arrives at the manor of Lord E, begging to commit ritual suicide on his property. E's clansmen, believing the desperate Ronin is merely angling for charity, try to force him to eviscerate himself, but they have underestimated his honor and his past. Winner of the 1963 Cannes Film Festival Special Jury Prize. Masaki Kobayashi's Hara-kiri is a scathing denouncement of feudal authority and hypocrisy. This is 133 minutes by number 302. So Hara-kiri is from Japanese words of stomach or slash belly and cutting. It is the more crude form of seppuku, which means formal, which is the formal word for the ritualistic suicide. Disembowelment, if you will. Where you have a whole bunch of people come in to witness it and record it, that a samurai would do typically after a massive betrayal, and the way to redeem themselves would be to slice the whole stomach open, see the disembowelment, and then have another person, I guess, to help ease the suffering by decapitating them. That's the way how it was. Of course, this is 100% out. This is 100% outlawed, and yeah. So, what makes this have an 8.6 on the IMDb? Well, this one is the setting. It takes place in a yard, which before the like in the castle and everything where it happened. So it's like we get flashbacks, we get the foyer, we get the residents of this house is. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Well, it's the raw performance that Tatsuya Nadakai gives. One where he's just a Ronin, a masterless samurai, and two, it's the formalities that they go through and everything. With the way how it's said, was like, okay, so we have them wanting to come in, and they have to talk and everything else. But even with this house, he's there to witness. There's something else going on. I'm like, what could be going on? Well, he knows exactly what's occurring. He sees saying, hey, I had a son named Matoko or something. Said this is part of the past where he had a daughter, a son-in-law, and a grandson. But over time, because of the Hanshiro, I think the character's name is being relegated to a less favorable position, land that's worth less money and everything. The family has to survive, including Motoko, having to sell his swords, which is pretty much kind of like, how like taking away a cowboy's gun, I guess you could say, and also the removal of the top knot from the samurai. Yeah, it'd be pretty much equatable to death right there, the biggest dishonor possible. So it's with bamboo blades, Pete's. So what we get is a lot of raw. We got the aggression going on, but then he's able to raise his voice asunder with such deep passion and conviction. He's talking to this other person, this I guess the ruler of the household and all the retainers. So there's a lot going on in here as we get all the stories, and you're waiting for everything to fit together. But you see his tale. You see how everything is going on, and thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Well, I get into themes in a little bit, but ultimately it's revealed that because of it wasn't whatever the daughter passed on from happened to the son, so he's disgraced and alone, and ultimately he also sees the E clan as a disreputable clan compared to him. So ultimately, he goes around and causes one massive wreckage going on. Critically injuring 8 and eliminating 4 of the other retainers before he himself is retained. And the House views it as saying, this Hanshiro guy had derangement, and say that he was almost ready to go. So in the beginning, they show the suit of armor. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it is to show the more former noble days of the IE clan. But now they have dishonor amongst them instead of actually giving the instead of giving the Motoko person a couple of days to get his affairs in order. They have him. He honorably performs the seppuku. They charge it down as just another Ronin or something like that, and it's just they bring the body back and they disgrace him too, because it's you have these other clans, houses, or whatever that it's the samurai who would rather go out their honorable way than says, hey, just give them a little money, just get them out of here. We don't need to deal with any of this garbage, which is common throughout. And we get to see one such extreme example because there was one of the people performed maintenance on a Hiroshima castle. Remember, this was in 1630, and but it was forbidden, so they got outlawed and whatever the word is, ostracized. So all over something kind of dumb. So it's all about the people in the high positions, positions, and people that retinue retaining power. And 3, obviously, how they have in the beginning there's a record log that states all the business and events that happened that day. But with everything that happened, they just wrote it down as this is just another Ronin that just it was just another person. Nothing special really happened here. So when they went to the municipal or whatever to say what happened, they just chalked up as another incident rather than the extreme stuff that occurred. And also as the disgraced, also with the disgracement, with the armor that was right there in the beginning, our hero grabs it, and he's about to use it as a shield. But then ultimately, he mockingly tosses it aside, as if to really say, yeah, you have truly become a bunch of just snakes. So you have the Japanese version of the caste system going on, not the caste around here or cast and crew, but CASTE, denoting a specific class, which is BS in my opinion. Yeah, like I said, this was Kobayashi's attack on the feudal system that was going on way back when, because it was just part of the post-war occupation. And eventually, the E clan is also famous or infamous for signing the Harris Treaty, which allowed American citizens to come in. I'm not exactly sure when, but it definitely added a lot of interesting moments in Japanese history. From a technical standpoint, we get the tracking shots, we get the zoom ins and zoom outs towards the end. When there's the sword, where there's all the kanbaru, kanbaru means sword play, and every sword play, which the attacking on almost feels like a stage. We do get some decent long takes. I'd say roughly 15, 20, or even longer. So it's all done fluidly, and it's not just jump cut, which wouldn't do well for the historical accuracy here. And when Tetsuya is speaking, and we slowly reveals the truth with a zoom out, which we get to when he's talking, then it zooms out, and we hear we get to see everyone's stunned reactions, which I'm just like, god dang, Definitely with number 2 with that. Also, other scenes, sometimes just for the conversation, the camera would be placed down and make it feel like you're part of it. Other times, it's just almost like we're listening in going on. That's what I noticed. And I would even say, I mean, yeah, there's like maybe 1 or 2 jump cuts, but you just hear more for the line delivery and be able to help you feel like saying, hey, yeah, I'm listening in on what's going on here to like make the viewer, I guess, connect the dots or do a little research of what's going on here with the history. Yeah, definitely with the forecourt where everything happens. It's the minimalism done well. Yes, it is done with a massive cinema scope, to show the wideness of the courtyard. And heck, even during the skirmishes and when he's like dealing with his son and everything. So it's definitely a dang amazing viewpoint of this. So yeah, I mean, I guess really the only other thing to say is like a bit, the Bushido is the code that the samurai would follow. They have one large sword and one smaller one. Larger one is for obviously attacking. Smaller one is for seppuku. We even get to see Tetsuya remove the top knot of the 3 people that he requested for the decapitation. But when they brought his son's body, he goes and dishonors them in quite the way possible. So God bless America. Yeah, definitely. This movie isn't for everyone. It's subtitled, but if you're willing to want to challenge what you know and learn from this to not trust a single politician. That's what I keep on saying. Don't ever trust a politician unless they are genuine or retainers or anything like that. Definitely give Hara-kiri a freaking watch.